So what can I say about PvP, other than the lag? Uh, and the thing is with the lag is that um, it was discussed that um, the European servers and the Oceanic servers aren't even up yet. And everybody that's been playing so far in the betas have been playing in the North American servers. And of course there's been a lot of discussion on that, saying that, well, that's why it's been lagging so much, because we've been playing on North America from people from across the world, with people from across the world. So it's like, of course there's going to be lag. But a recent developer blog mentions that yes, we've put everybody on the same like mega servers and whatnot, but at the same time, it wasn't supposed to lag that much. Apparently, from them, the computers can handle it, and therefore, what they found out was that the lag was caused by a bug that everybody, including those who were doing PvE, was experiencing. Now, the difference is that in PvE, the bug wasn't as prominent. So I personally didn't notice it. So will that be fixed on release? I don't know. Of course, they're working on it. And I'm assuming that their goal is to have a smooth day one experience. So of course they're working on it. Will they succeed? That's another story. I'm not too worried, because even with the lag that and of course everybody was playing on the same campaigns, like when you can select a campaign to be your home campaign and you play there. Throughout the betas, there were probably like 1 or 2 max in terms of like the servers, the campaigns that people would go to, because that's where the population was. And if you went to any other, they were pretty empty, which I found was kind of hilarious, because I actually spent some time in empty Cyrodiil just to see what was going on, and you could complete quests essentially, although some quests are slightly group-based, so they might be a little bit more complicated. And of course, the quests that require you to kill like 20 enemies and whatnot, well, those are pretty much impossible to do on an empty server, obviously, because you need to kill people. But yeah, it allowed me to explore a little bit without worrying too much about enemy attackers.
And no, I'm not saying that. Is this a coral? Is this the farm? I don't know if you guys remember, in Oblivion, there's a farm with a family of 1 man and 2 sons, and you do a quest where the farm is being attacked by goblins, and this would be Wynonna Prairie. So that's the farm that the 2 brothers, and I think in my Let's Play videos they both died. But that's one of the quests that I thought was really interesting, because you had different outcomes. It was just not a black and white, you succeeded it or you failed. It was one. Yeah, the Odell farm. Thank you. I was wondering.
Now the thing is that even on a populated server, and like servers were full on some of the ones that I was playing on, and besides the lag, I mean, you could explore and not worry too much about. All you had to do basically is avoid the main roads and avoid the areas that had the PvP objectives, like keeps, resource camps, and stuff like that, and everything else was, I wouldn't say barren, but you would only find like the odd one-ring player, and I find that's pretty okay. So if you're expecting to, if you wanted to explore Cyrodiil, and you're one of those guys who don't like PvP, for example, who thinks that, oh no, that's too much for me, or my computer can't handle it. First of all, your computer, like I mentioned before, like if you got something that's fairly new for a computer, then you shouldn't worry too much about performance. But yeah, it's like as far as being able to roam around and explore Cyrodiil and enjoy it and just see how the world that you know in Oblivion, while playing Oblivion, how was it before, and how did it look back then? And it's surprisingly detailed in terms of the lore, and I had some particular moments that I found was very enjoyable. And basically for me, like I enjoy, you know, large-scale PvP and all that stuff, but I think most of the time that I plan on playing in Cyrodiil will be off the roads. First of all, Cyrodiil is one of those areas that I love very much, mainly due to my time playing Oblivion, and just seeing runes. You know, alien ruins like scattered across the field, and they look so beautiful with the vegetation and stuff like that. And some of them are actual dungeons that you can go to, so there's that, and some have quests related to them. This is where I need to be. Oh my god, I'm playing Skyrim! And although some alien ruins are closed, so I'm thinking they'll add more and more of that content as the game matures, so that's pretty exciting. And you also have to understand that some dungeons hosts unique, I was going to call them legendaries, but it's like unique specific like crafting tables. And so if you wanted to craft a very specific set, and I'm thinking right now, I'm reminded of Diablo, and the Diablo games with like unique sets and stuff like that that have not necessarily specific properties, but maybe specific looks. I haven't delved too much into that, but there might be some sets that are inside those dungeons across Cyrodiil, and people have to explore that. And only the crafters that have a high enough, I guess, ability will be able to work with those workbenches and stuff like that. So I find that the PvP map holds a lot of interesting bits, especially when it comes to like the alien ruins and stuff like that. And I'm talking about alien ruins, and now I'm just remembered about the way shrines. You know, the stuff like in Oblivion that would recharge your magicka and whatnot. And I'm thinking, I've found a few of those, and visually they work the same way. I mean, they glow blue, and then you click on them, and you know, it dissipates. What they actually did was beyond me. Like I didn't notice anything different. There wasn't any buffs. There wasn't anything. So I'm thinking some of the elements in PvP, and that's actually pretty true. Some of the elements in the PvP from what I've played in the beta were incomplete. That's something that at least they'll add on release. And I'm specifically talking about like the resource camps, like the lumber mill, the mining, and the farmlands. Right now, they serve. I was going to say very little purpose, but that's not true. They just don't have all the elements that ZeniMax Online has planned for the PvP. So they're supposed to have a little bit more weight to them, other than I think if you remove the lumber mill, the repairs are slower or something on the keep itself, like because lumber mills and or I should say lumber camps and minings and all the resource camps, they surround a specific keep and they buff that keep up. But they have other purposes that are very, at least to me, they're very obscure, and they're not even functional at this point. And I'm thinking the Aliot shrines do pretty much the same thing in terms like you click on them and nothing happens. They're just like a visual doodad. At least that's my experience with them. Although it's still cool to have them around because, well, why wouldn't they be there, right? Now, the curious thing is I haven't bothered checking that out because I'm not too familiar with the shrines themselves in Oblivion, because I've only started to be aware of them with my Oblivion mage character that's an astronaut that I'm playing on my Let's Play series, and before that all my mage characters or all my other characters had rechargeable magicka, so I didn't spend too much time figuring out if they were on the same locations from the PvP map of Cyrodiil to the Oblivion map. So from what I've seen of Cyrodiil so far, I would say it's pretty accurate. Maybe the exact coordinates wouldn't exactly match, but you know, it's small details like that. But a lot of stuff matches. And I think, to go back to what I was saying before, I'll spend most of my time in Cyrodiil, unless I'm with friends who only want to play on a PvE map, which is fine. But I think when I'm alone, I'll probably spend a lot of time in Cyrodiil. Not so much with the whole huge scale assaults and stuff like that, which I like very much. But there's a lot of stuff to do outside of that, which I don't know how they play in the grand scheme of things, and I'll get to that in a minute, because there's a lot of areas, there's a lot of cities. First of all, the major cities that you would find in Oblivion, they're there in the Cyrodiil map, with the exception of the western side. You'll notice that the map of Cyrodiil is slightly smaller, not in terms of the scale itself, but it seems like the province got cut. Which leads me to believe that throughout the time, the Empire enlarged their territory, or something. I don't know, like Kavach. What were the other ones? Skingrad, Kavach, and Anvil are absent from the Cyrodiil map, and so you can't go there. But every other one, Bruma. And then you have, I'm trying to fight and look at the same time. Then you have the, yeah, I'm lagging a little bit. Like the side where you have the bar. And then this would be the church. And then over here you would have the shops. I think that's what it is supposed to be. Not necessarily, although you had the guilds and then the shops, right? So I think this is what it's supposed to be. I'm completely ignoring. Oh, my buddies are inside? Is there anything inside? Yeah, it is a church. Okay. It doesn't, well, design-wise, it doesn't look like the church in... oh, and there's quests in Bruma, but I guess this probably makes it more authentic to the lore as opposed to Oblivion that used generic churches and stuff like that. So I don't know which one is more accurate. Coral. I got in from the wrong angle. That's why it looked kind of odd. Because I was looking at it this way, and I was like, the church is in the wrong spot. But if you come in from this angle, it makes total sense. Church is in the right spot, so this is the inn
Library is about there. General Merchant was here. The Old Grey Mare was there. Then you have the shops. Blacksmith and whatnot. The tree should be here. And then we have like the guild halls and all that jazz. Oh, look at the tree! It's so cute! Oh, look at the tree! I'm tearing up! This is awesome! Wait, was that the tree that would be the very large in front of the Mages Guild? Yeah, yeah, that's the tree. The emblem on the shield, the coral. That's... It looks like a little sapling in comparison. I was expecting a fairly large tree still, but no, this is perfect. This is what I want in my MMOs. This is... I want lore, I want story, and this is perfect. The only thing that bothers me, I find, is that for the general shop, didn't the door used to be on that end? I don't know what the hell happened to have, like, freaking magma everywhere. That kind of breaks my heart a little bit. Like, I'm wondering, like, what's the story behind this? Remember the place where you go to the fingers of the mountain? No way! Hang on. Where was that? Here? There's a road here. I don't think there was a keep in the past. Yeah, this place here kind of throws me off. I'm not exactly sure I can recognize it, but maybe that was added just for the gameplay's sake, because they need to make all fractions equal, blah 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 blah. But I'm thinking there's something here. Yeah, yeah, I know where I am. I'm thinking maybe it... I say this and there's like a weird cloud right there. But, this here, I'm thinking it's this. Maybe a more complete pillar? I'm thinking this is too high for it, but maybe it is. Maybe that's... So maybe it is a cloud. And it makes sense, like, lore-wise, the whole idea of the spell. Storyline-wise, the book contains research done on Elite runes at Cloud Top involving weather magic. Yeah. Chaden Hall. I don't know if the other ones, Braville. I'm thinking Braville is there. But regardless, those cities are. I was gonna say fully functional. No, that's not true. They're there and they have quests.
that span throughout multiple quest lines, and you got multiple quests. I mean, I spent a lot of time questing in Cheydinhal and Bruma, and poor Bruma, man, they got it rough, especially when you consider the events in Oblivion. Wow. I mean, it's no spoiler. If you actually start the game, oh, you basically have to level up to level 10 to get to Cyrodiil on the PvP map. But if you go to Bruma, first thing is you'll notice that, holy crap, they have it rough. Especially if you consider, of course, the events in Oblivion. So, yeah, it was weird. Being able to quest in Cheydinhal and have different quests than, say, Oblivion, because, you know, obviously they're different quests. And some of them are all about, like, oh, we need, you know, to get some supplies, not necessarily from the PvP, you know, objectives, but just random supplies. Can you scout around this dungeon and get me some of that? I don't know what it was. I was collecting stuff in a dungeon. I actually didn't go through that dungeon too much because I was too distracted doing other things, and it just kept going on. Brumo had a lot of quest lines that were pretty interesting. They were on the moment thing. They had problems. And then, aside from those cities, which offer a fair amount of content to solo and to group, they have random encampments that really, I don't think they serve any purpose. Maybe the scouting quest could lead you to one of those, because I think one of them did to me, and it opened up, like, I don't know, I think there was like 5 quests in there, you know, in that one encampment that I scouted, and I couldn't pick them up. Like, I had too many quests to pick up. It comes to the point where you're overwhelmed with quests, and I was actually pretty overwhelmed in Cyrodiil. I think my quest log at the end of the beta was just filled with mostly Cyrodiil related quests. So I find that really cool, and I think it opens up the game a lot more, and my perception on the PvP map just opened up a lot. So I truly believe that this is a place where you can quest and do single player stuff, but watch out, you know, you're in a danger zone because you can get killed. And yes, enemy troops will, well, they tend to, like, the larger groups will ambush on the roads and stuff like that, so just avoid the roads. But yeah, stealthing is a huge element of that game, in that map. I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker, but it does have some strategy involved, and you know, if you're a mage, you might want to use one of the abilities that the Mages Guild has that detects stealth from a distance. Against an archer, I don't think it would work, but at least against the heavy hitters like the Nightblades that use dual wielding, you know, melee combat, like, they hit hard, so maybe you want to spot them. I think those are a more prevalent threat, and there's a way to deal with them, so it's good. Now, another thing I wanted to point out was that my initial thought on it all, like, as far as gathering resources, crafting materials, to be more precise. Initially, I thought that there weren't any. I'm just going to explore, because it's peaceful. Look at this. It doesn't seem to have any materials, like crafting materials, like lumber or plants to pick up. And I just realized that I am completely blind, and some areas have. It's a little bit more scarce, but there are some that you can pick up, like wood, those runes that you find on the ground and stuff like that. I don't think I found any mining ore, but I found wood, I found a few plants, and so yeah, so you can still collect stuff I'm assuming those are the ones that you would need, like, you know, like I mentioned earlier, right? There might be some, I haven't found them, but there might be a dungeon or two that have those unique crafting tables. And I'm assuming that they would require ingredients scattered across Cyrodiil. Now, a thought just came to mind, and I think this is awesome and scary at the same time. Could you imagine going inside? Let's say that you want a very unique set of armor crafted, and that working table is only in Cyrodiil. You find it, or you heard somebody else say, "Hey, there's that crafting table over there," and you're like, "Oh yeah, I want that." You can't craft, so you ask, let's say, a fellow guild member about, and this is just a scenario that I'm making up in my mind right now. It's like you ask a fellow guild member about how high their crafting skills are in terms of like making an armor for you, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine," and it's like, do you want to go to this dungeon and we'll find that crafting table so you can make it a special set for me? And they're like, "Oh yeah, sure." But imagine if everybody in every faction, well, not everyone, but it's like, let's say 2 or 3 groups decided to do the exact same thing from different factions. You got the Ebenheart Pack and, say, the Daggerfall Covenant, who have like crafting groups. They'll need escort, because can you imagine fighting inside that dungeon for the table? That'd be crazy. I think it opens up for a little bit of frustration, as well as some very epic moments where it's not just about the keeps themselves, but you know, the day-to-day moments that you craft yourself. I say crafting a lot, but I mean, like, some of these things are done by you because you want to do them, not because the game told you, "Hey, you'll earn points because of that," which I find very appealing. Now, as far as appealing goes, I'm just going to do like a segue to the graphics. The graphics are beautiful, but I was slightly disappointed because I've played in Cyrodiil before. A lot of you have, and I was really disappointed with the draw distance of the... I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me, but I've noticed it kind of disappointed me because I'm used to seeing that golden white tower. A lot of people asked me back when I was doing my Let's Play series of Oblivion, were asking me, why do you keep the compass up? First of all, there's no default way of removing the compass in an Elder Scrolls game. Maybe Skyrim you do, but I've actually, to be honest, haven't looked it up. But in Oblivion, the compass is fairly large, and people have a lot of issues with the compass. I mean, the whole quest marker debate has been going on for years, and I think one of the reasons why I don't mind it so much in Oblivion, even though the quest marker would lead exactly to where you wanted to go, or needed to go, is because I kept looking at the environment. The compass was just there. I mean, it helped me out when I found an icon that I was like, "Oh yeah, there's a rune over there, I might as well go." I mean, that's the whole purpose of the compass. But as far as knowing where to go, I spent most of my time looking for that golden white tower as being a point of reference. It's kind of like the Northern Star. When you look up at the sky, you kind of know, okay, well, there's north, and then you can orient yourself. And to me, that was a huge... It made the RPG element way more appealing to me, where I didn't use a tool like a UI element. I used the actual visual elements of the game to find my way. And the Golden White Tower is a huge... and I couldn't see it. And I was very disappointed. And to the point where, you know, you could try going... I was across the water and I didn't see the tower. And I had to swim through a very dangerous lake which kills you because of the slaughterfish. And then I realized that my draw distance was way too low. And if you look at previous videos of me running around Cyrodiil in
PvP map, and you think, well, this is not bad for draw distance. Well, that's at 25 out of 100. So the draw distance kind of goes pretty far, but not far enough, and that's where it disappointed me, because I ran the game. Actually, if you switch it, when your game was running, it would crash on me. But so I had to do that off in the menus before logging in, and when I cranked the draw distance to the max, I still couldn't. I barely saw. There's one area in the map where you see it, barely, just and it was beautiful, but sad, because it's like, first of all, there's a giant thing on it, and second, it's sad because you're like, I want to see it everywhere, because especially, like, I think in Oblivion it was when you're in Anvil that you couldn't see it, because the whole terrain kind of slopes down past Kavach, right? And if you're at Skingrad, you could barely, I think you see it just a little bit, like off in the distance, in the fog. But assuming that you got the draw distance to the max in Oblivion. But yeah, so there's that. But it is possible. Initially, I thought that the building didn't exist because the draw distance was so bad. It sounds like I'm making a huge deal, but something like that kind of... It filled me up with spirit when I was able to crank up the draw distance and see it. For those rare moments that I saw it, I felt happy. So I hope that as the game matures, they'll kind of increase that a little bit, the draw distance. I'm thinking World of Warcraft here, where the game engine is so old, and yet Blizzard managed to update it as years go by. I'm not saying that the Elder Scrolls Online engine is ugly. I find it fantastic. I find it beautiful, even though some might say that it looks kind of outdated. I don't believe that one bit. It does the job that it needs to do, and I find it does like a perfect job at it. I just think that, maybe they could increase just to draw this. Just give me more. I need more. Anyways. What is this? It's not a dungeon or anything. Yeah, I'm casting way too slowly here. The melee guys have an advantage on that. Then again, I have very powerful attacks, so I have to charge them up. But this is good. This is good. I like this. I was gonna say for the Empire, but no, this is wrong. For Ibn Art. I guess we're just charging blindly. Booyakasha! Nope, dead. At least it doesn't consume my mana when I do that. When I'm trying to cast a spell and it just... Guys? Guys? I'm scared now. Guys? Look lively, people!
Well, that's interesting. Did the server just died? This is creepy. Oh, there's a mage. I think I've seen her around a couple of times before. Well, there's this sense of serenity about the place. It's kind of cool. But the fact that we're in the middle of combat. Oh, maybe I can get some scouting info right before I die. Let's take a look at the enemies. There's one right there. Just look at him.